Welcome to Exposing the Hidden Reality. I'm Annette, career reinvention coach and caffeine-powered human.
And I'm Sandra, women's life and leadership coach. I bring the woo to our conversations.
And this is the podcast where we call out all the unspoken stuff, biases, outdated expectations, and all the things women navigate in work and in life.
Yes. We bring to light what we see happening. Smart, capable women stuck in the same patterns because no one really talks about what's going on.
We'll bring some difficult truths.
Welcome, insightful experts.
And sprinkle in a little chaos and fun.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't, right?
It's true.
So whether you're walking the dog or tuning in during your commute, we're glad you're here. Let's do this.
Let's do this. You want to do the let's do this together? Like 3, 2, 1, let's do this. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. We tried to get it synced together. I swear, Paula, we did. It just didn't work out. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We have a very special guest with us today, Paula Collins. Paula, why don't you take a few moments and introduce yourself?
Thanks so much. I am so honored to be here and to be a part of this with you two incredibly beautiful, empowered women. That just really touches my heart so deeply. So I am a Magdalene sound priestess and a spirituality mentor. I help women who are trying to navigate out of all of the ancestral and generational trauma and blocks and all of that programming that they have carried with them, whether they realize it or not. I also help women to step out of the societal expectations of who we're supposed to be and society thinks we're supposed to be as women, because that's all BS. It's garbage. And we get to be who we want to be, no matter what anybody else says. And I am a firm believer for all of that and more.
I love that, Paula. So how do we figure out who we want to be? Like, when do we sort of get that awakening? It's not when we're super young. And for some of us, it's not till we're older. So what normally happens when women come to you and they're feeling that, like, I'm not being authentic, I'm not being true to myself, but I don't know who that is?
Yeah, it's interesting. It happens differently for so many of my clients, but normally when it happens, something big has just taken place in their life that has made them feel like they're separated from everybody else and everything else, even to those people that they are closest to. And so they're like, I don't know who I am. I don't know how I got here. How did this get so out of control? I feel like I am just stuck on this hamster wheel of saying yes to everybody, to pleasing everybody else. And they have forgotten that saying no is okay and that it is sacred. And they're just feeling lost and really low. And they're trying to figure out, how do I get out of this? And how do I figure out what I want and who I want to be? And so they realize that something has changed in their life because of the circumstances that have led up to it. They're just not sure what it is.
I agree. So usually unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden everything's different and they don't know why.
Yeah, exactly. And they find themselves, they feel alone, even when they're in a room with other women or people that they know, even people that they're close to. They feel like they're alone and they're trying to figure out, what's the password to get back in? I don't know the password. I don't know the secret handshake. I don't know whatever it is that I'm supposed to do to rejoin this. And so they come to me and say, how do I get back in? And sometimes I tell them, this is your call to actually get out. This is the call to leave it all behind. And then they're like, leave it behind. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes we have to let go of some things so that we can actually figure out what our real beliefs and values are, not based on what mom or dad or grandma or some teacher or some pastor told you in your life, but what do you believe is true? What's here? Because if it's here, then it's meant for you.
I often call it you're at an existential crisis point where it's like, I don't feel like I can move forward anymore because where I'm at is not where I want to be, but I have no idea where I want to go.
Yeah. That's a good, I think that's a really good term, existential crisis. I like that.
Yeah. And I think too, we're not often given permission to say what we really want to say. And we're socialized to follow a set of an expected path, let's say, right?
Yes.
From young girl to marriage to motherhood. And now we add career on top of that because, somewhere we've internalized it's not enough to be somebody's wife or somebody's mother. And I'm not sure that we ever take a moment to sit down and say, do I really want all of that?
I think for a lot of people, at least in my generation, because I'm 57, that was the expectation. That's what we were told we were going to do. When are you going to get married? As soon as you get married, when are you going to have the kids? Are you going to stay home? Are you going to do this? You shouldn't do this. You should do. We've been told our whole life what to do. And one of the cool things that I have found are women who are in their late 20s and early 30s, they're starting to say, yeah, no, that's not the path for me. Really not interested in a significant other. Really don't want children. I just want to be me. And I'm like, yes, that's a beautiful thing. That's where we should have been. I myself, I do not regret getting married or having children. That was my dream. And I love it. And I've loved that path for me. But part of my path changed because I was a high school English teacher. And part of that path changed because I was in a really severe car accident. And it gave me a permanent brain injury that only allows me to read for 25 minutes. And then my vision is shot. Doesn't allow me to go to concerts and go out dancing with my husband because I can't handle sound and loud movies anymore. And I was like, oh, shoot, what the heck do I do with my life? Like, how do I move forward? I have short-term memory issues. How do I move forward from this? And I was, the depression that came with that in June of 2020 was overwhelming. And I didn't know what to do. And I sat there and I mourned the loss. I had to go through mourning the loss. And what I found out is that a lot of my friends that I've had from teaching for years, they were friends of convenience and where I was, not necessarily my friends. And that was a really hard pill to swallow because these were people that I socialized with, did things with, hung out with after school. And as soon as I wasn't part of that anymore, they were gone. Like they had forgotten that I existed. And I was like, what the flip is happening? And here I am, I'm like, what do I do now?
Yes.
How do I navigate this now? And of course, when you have all this time on your hands, you start Googling everything under the sun.
Right.
And in the process of that, I started finding out about all these wounds that I had carried all my life. And I'm like, okay, some of this is making sense. And then across my screen, because, Facebook and Instagram always know what we Google, and they start throwing the ads at us, and realized that I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't figure it out on my own because I didn't have a point of reference to come at this with.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, you know what, I got to do something because I can't stay here. I don't like how I'm feeling right here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. I'm far too young to live the rest of my life like that. And that's when I found people to help me along the way. And one of the people that helped me said, you know what? I think you'd be really good at this. And I'm like, you're funny. I can't go back to school. I can't sit and read a book. And they're like, you do realize that things happen in video now, right? You're not that old. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, I can watch a video. I can take notes. I can do that part. And it just got me on this feeling of there is something else out there for me. I'm not done. And I have come to realize that sometimes the universe or whoever you subscribe to isn't getting through to you on what you need to be doing and how you need to be doing it. Sometimes they have to throw a really huge curveball to shut you down so that you will finally open up to the possibilities. And that's what happened with me. And yeah, it took a lot of things away, but I think about everything that it's brought to me, and it actually brought me to what my soul had been craving. And that's the thing. We get those little things along the way about what our soul is craving, but the outside noise tell us it's not good for you. People are going to look at you funny. It's evil. It's bad. All the junk. And so we shut it out. We shut it out. We shut it down. We believe everybody else because we don't trust ourselves. Learning to trust yourself and your intuition and your gut feelings and the little messages you get along the way changes everything.
Yeah, we're so used to dismissing those little nudges. So how do you encourage other women to listen to those nudges, or maybe to pay attention? Because I find sometimes I just ignore it outright. And then when something later happens, I'm like, oh, if I was really paying attention, in hindsight, I could see it. But in the moment, I let it go, or I dismiss it.
Or Sandra bugs you about it.
Or Sandra bugs me about it, which never happens. Never happens.
Yes, guilt is good. I love guilt. Shaming, no. Shaming is a bad thing, but guilt is a good thing.
One of the things I ask women is, where, if you think back in your path, where did you ignore something that all of a sudden, in hindsight, when you look back, you think, if I would have listened to that, I wouldn't have ended up here. This wouldn't have come into my life. I might have not made this choice. I might have explored something differently. And in the beginning, they're like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, yes, you do. You just don't want to go there. Sometimes I have to tell people, it's not that you don't remember. You don't want to go there. You're afraid to go there. And I get that you're afraid to go there because going there is scary. But this is not about beating ourselves up. This is about us noticing the patterns in our life and throughout our whole life, and acknowledging, I should have listened to that. That would have saved me this over here. And the more they can see that and be held in a space where they are encouraged, where they are loved, where they are heard, where they are seen, oh my gosh, the way that people will open up and start opening up and just start letting it all out is incredible. And sometimes that requires them. I also play sound bowls. I love my sound bowls and my gong. I think they're the best thing that's ever happened in my entire life. Or I do journeys with my drone. And sometimes it takes taking them all the way back to childhood, to that child that was precocious, that was wild, that was fun, that was full of life, that had all these dreams and desires. And then moving forward and seeing, when did that get shut down? When did you forget that dream and that desire? Who told you it wasn't good? And then realizing that that person was just speaking from their experience and it had nothing to do with them, because quite frankly, 3/4 of the time, what people think of us has nothing to do with us. It's all about them. It's their life experience. It's their worldview. And when we realize that it's none of our business, it changes something.
I call it OPC, other people's crap.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And we are too young when it happens to us to intellectualize and view that through a different lens. And oftentimes our parents either don't know that it happened, don't know how to help us when it happens. Sometimes it's our parents. So how can you process something, right? And sometimes we interpret what we think we're being told. And that when you go back and test that assumption, you find out the person's looking at you like, what are you talking about? That never even happened. I never felt like that. And we walk around with these stories that we've told ourselves, and we've never questioned those stories. And of course, the reticular activating system says, right, when you have a story, you're looking for data to support that story. And of course, you're encouraging more of that same data to come in to confirm what you already believe about yourself, right?
Exactly. And the human brain is just programmed from a very young age to only see the negative, to not remember and to reflect on the positive. And because of that, it becomes a whole new way of thinking and discovering and uncovering. And reclaiming parts of you that are covered with all of the stories. And when we begin to excavate and uncover all of that stuff, and we release it, we let it go, we send it back, whatever it is we're doing, we realize that person is still there. And oh my gosh, that part of us rejoices and says, yay, she finally figured it out. And then another switch does the old flip. And we're like, oh, so things can be different. I can be different.
Yeah.
Such power in realizing that. So how can we move to that place of flipping the switch without maybe going through something as devastating as you did? Like that was a huge life change where you were in a car accident and it hurt you in ways that impact you for the rest of your life. Is there smaller ways, or is there a way that we can sit and purposefully help the switches flip for ourselves?
Absolutely. I am a firm believer that if you don't own your own set of sound bowls, so you can't just go into reflection with that, I am a huge fan of listening to frequency music that is 432 hertz, which allows us to heal at a very deep level, or 528 hertz, which is almost a way of reconstructing DNA, they've found. And sitting with that music and allowing your mind to wander, because what we are ready to uncover will come up if we allow ourselves that time to uncover it. And so many times we're taught, well, you can't just sit and listen to music and close your eyes because you're going to be, viewed as being lazy or whatever else and I say, who gives a care what everybody else cares? Because it's about me. And I think we are in a time period right now where more people are realizing that this is not all that it's cracked up to be. And we are in a time of great awakening, and more people are noticing, you know what? My parents thought that way, but it doesn't feel good to me. And I always tell people, if there is something that doesn't feel good, where in your body doesn't it feel good? Because the body keeps the score, and we hold that everywhere. We hold it everywhere. And when we take the time to just sit, close our eyes, put on our music, close our eyes and sit, and we bring something up or something rises to the surface. I know the first time I tried that, I blinked my eyes open. I'm like, that can't possibly be true. I can't, no, that's what I've always believed. And then I realized that's what I was taught to believe.
Yes.
It's what I was taught to believe, but it's not true. It's not the full truth. And I thought to myself, oh. And then when I looked back on my life, I'm like, ooh, I really was going through the motions, wasn't I?
Mm-hmm.
But it's important to schedule that, whether it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, a half hour. I also tell people, get in nature, like with your bare feet, and connect to the rhythm of the earth. Go sit by a tree and feel the frequency of that tree, and allow yourself to just be. And if you ask yourself, what is it I need to know, or what is it that I need to what needs to rise up so I can look at it and see if it's still a part of me, it comes up. It comes up, whether we want it to or not, it comes up. And then you do the brave thing and you start journaling and asking yourself why. And after you write a little bit, you say, why? And you write some more, and then you say, why? And you finally get somewhere with that. But people are afraid to answer that question, why?
Mm.
Yeah. It's one of the scariest questions out there. And I think about a little child when they're in the why stage. Why? And we're like, stop. But no, we need that kind of curiosity. We need that curiosity in our own adult lives, and somebody said, well, I've always been this way. I'll always be this way. And I'm like, they found that the brain has neuroplasticity, so it doesn't have to be that way. We can change anything we want until our brain stops functioning. It's possible to change it. And I had one client, and she did a private sound healing with me, so we didn't need all the extra music, but it was amazing what came up for her that she hadn't realized she had piled stuff on top of, and she dissolved on the floor in tears, and I kept playing the bowls, and I allowed her to have that moment with the tears, and intuitively I knew where to go with what to play, and she cried more, and she was punching into pillows and stomping her feet. And I just kept encouraging her. And when we were done, we talked about what had come up for her. And she goes, all I came here to do was to relax. That's all I did, was come here to relax. And I'm like, well, sometimes when we're relaxing, that's when the good stuff happens.
I think what you're talking about is so important. So just want to capitalize on some things that went through my mind as you were sharing. The first one is Jim Rohn always used to say, you weren't born with a self-image, right? Put in there. So what you learned, you can unlearn, right? So
Yes.
I think it's important for us to remember that everything we know about ourselves, we learned.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I think that you're speaking to that's really powerful, and I think people forget, is we always feel like we're too busy to take the time, right? And a corollary to that is it hurts. We don't want to sit with those hurt feelings. And the reality is, I always use my Grover voice when I talk about this, right? You can't go over, you can't go under, you got to go through, right? Over, under, around, and through.
Yeah.
We try to do everything we can to avoid going through the emotion, but there's never healing until we actually sit and allow that emotion to surface. And it's an opportunity for curiosity.
Yes. Well, emotional intimacy is the most important thing we can have with ourselves. It is the deepest intimacy we can have with ourselves. But we have been told, oh, you got to brush that off. You got to push it to the side. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about it. We're always told, don't.
Yeah.
And we've been programmed to believe that. And the other thing that you said is, we don't take time for ourselves because, and especially as women,
Right.
we've been taught everybody else comes first.
Yeah.
And to give till after it hurts even. And it doesn't matter what your schedule is. It matters what everybody else's schedule is. And I teach my clients that their yes is just as sacred as their no. And I said, I dare you, get on the phone, call your dentist, call your doctor, or call your hairdresser and see if you can come in the next 5 minutes. You're probably going to get a no.
Right.
And we honor and we take that no. You call or your favorite restaurant. I need a space for 2 people for tonight at 7. Sorry, nothing till 9 o'clock. We accept that no. For everybody else, why don't we accept it for ourselves? When our body says, don't do it, you need the rest. I get there are emergencies when we have to drop everything and run because something big has happened. We need to help somebody out. That's different. But on a regular basis, why are you rescheduling your life for everybody else when they're not doing it for you? And it's not a tit for tat thing where it's just when we honor ourselves. And I tell people a boundary is where your responsibility ends and somebody else's begins. That's what a boundary is. And we have to put those up, whether it's with our parents, our significant other, if we have one, our children, friends. It's important because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You pick up a cup that's empty, you go like this, nothing's coming out. And when we're left with nothing to give ourselves, we just get smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And we lose our voice and we lose our knowing. And that doesn't serve anybody, especially not us.
Gosh, I don't even have anything else to say. I just want to say yes. And often, that's where I've felt the shifts in my life, where I just let the boundaries keep getting violated, or I haven't set them at all to begin with. And so although I haven't had a huge, gigantic shift like the one you experienced, those smaller things felt big at the time and caused that change. And as somebody that mainly works with career women in some sort of career change transition, that often happens at work too, right? You're being pushed to the point of burnout. Meeting end and start times are stepped all over. You're being asked to do things outside of work, outside of your responsibility. And that is a very big decision point. What is next for you? What are you going to do now? How do you set new boundaries? Or do you just pick yourself up and move yourself somewhere else and say, okay, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be different. And this experience will be different.
And I think one of the things that you also don't call out, Annette, but I think plays into this is that as women, we're the worst at supporting each other because who gets asked to stay behind at work? Is it the mom? Is it the mom who has to run to daycare to go pick up her kids? Or is it the single woman who doesn't have obligations outside of work? Is it the older woman whose kids are out of the house, and so you have time now to take over this stuff? Or is it the career woman who doesn't have children, so clearly she doesn't have obligations outside of work life? And I think as women, we're really hard on each other because we don't stop to realize that when I am not supporting another woman's boundaries or encouraging her in setting those boundaries, we're actually hurting ourselves as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We're also taught that we need to compete.
Yes.
I need to get above you, or you need to get above me to know that we have arrived. We've been taught that. And that is such a patriarchal, it's a trait of all of that. And it's not how it should be. We should be encouraging one another. It doesn't matter if we all do the same thing. You know what? We all do it from a different place.
Yes.
Different way.
Yes.
And just because somebody else is successful and moving at a faster rate doesn't mean that we don't have value, that we don't have merit.
Yes. Yes. There's a Starbucks, a McDonald's, a Burger King, and a Wendy on pretty much every single intersection, right? And they all make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 2 clients that I have coached, and they worked hard. I tell people, you can't just do the work when you're with me. You got to do the work outside of me. Otherwise, it doesn't work. But one of them just surprised me when I saw on TikTok. I don't normally work with men, but he is launching his business.
Yay.
And oh my gosh, I have I think 700 followers. In 2 weeks, he has 5,000 followers. The old Paula would have been like, oh my gosh, what did I do? How could I let them get ahead of me? The new Paula is like, yeah, do the gosh darn thing. Let's do this. And it's just so crazy when we realize how much we've been influenced and brainwashed. I really call it brainwashing. I do. We have, and you're right, it starts as children, so we don't even know. So it's that subtle. We don't realize it. And then when we come to realize it, we're like, whoa, who am I? What do I believe? What do I value?
Yeah.
I saw a post once that I thought really encapsulated it. It was called internalized capitalism. And it's true. Like, we've internalized these capitalistic values, which are fine from an economic perspective, but not from a self-worth, personal value, relationship perspective. And yet that we carry those ideals into how we work with people, very transactionally, and how we value self and how we value other, right?
Yeah.
I think it's time we start reevaluating that.
Oh, I'm 100% with you, Sandra. 100%, maybe even 200%, because we've been taught you got to trust the doctors, you got to trust the pharmaceuticals, you got to trust the pastor, you got to trust your husband, you got to trust this person. And then we don't have to trust anybody. We have the opportunity to question that and to research it and see how it fits and feels in our own body. And it changes everybody when we realize that we are allowed to do that. As an adult, we are allowed to do that. We are allowed to question, and it is okay to question.
Yeah. And I think part of what you're also saying is we have to let everybody else experience their own journey, their own questioning. So it's not for us to tell someone else that they're wrong. They're going through what they're going through. Their experience is uniquely theirs. And now it's time just to support that person. So kind of like your ex-friends that you used to work with, they're all gone when there wasn't that common linkage. They weren't willing to support you through your unique learning journey. And so they were out of there. So I suppose if you can't support someone in that same manner that you need to be supported, you probably should go. But let's make space for others to go on that journey and figure it out for themselves.
Amen.
Yes. Yes.
She's brilliant. This is why I hang out with her.
A lot less judgment, a lot less competition, more support, more community, more showing up for each other. And I think we could have a whole different way of operating.
Annette for president.
Yes. Yes.
I'm there, Sandra.
I wouldn't want to do that to you, Annette, because putting you in that position comes with a whole list of trials. But I would vote for somebody like you, Annette, absolutely, in a heartbeat. Yeah. Because when we tear down the walls, when we get rid of the expectations, and we were raised to believe that everything carries an expectation. I scratch your back, then someday you'll scratch mine. It's wrong. It's so wrong. And we put that on, if we are parents, and I am a parent and I'm a grandparent. And when I look back, I put so many expectations on my kids on who I thought they were supposed to be, because I didn't want them to experience the world in a negative way. And what did I do? That was a huge injustice for them.
But I think we do what we can. We do the best we can.
Yes.
At the time with the information that we have. And then as we grow and we learn, we do better because we know better.
Yeah. And there are so many ways to, I always say what we consume, and it's not just food.
Yes.
Dictates our thoughts and our actions.
Yes.
And I have this conversation with my husband all the time, because I'm like, oh, another shoot 'em up. He goes, well, it's not realistic violence. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's violence.
Yes.
And if we keep consuming the negative because it's an adrenaline rush, or it gives us that, oh, I'm afraid thing going on, that's what lives in us. And we have to learn that it's okay to turn off the TV and to put on something that's more nourishing for our souls, and to get off of these things and get outside again and reacquaint ourselves with all of that beauty and splendor that is outside, because that nourishes us in ways we have no idea until we're in it.
I think that's a gorgeous, gorgeous place to stop. And Paula, tell the audience how they can get in touch with you, how they can connect with you, and learn more about what you do.
Okay. So yes, I just redid my website. So that is up and running and great. So it's serenewellnesswithpaula.com. Serene Wellness with Paula is also my Instagram. Serene Paula, because it wouldn't let me have that big of a thing. Serene Paula is my TikTok. Paula Collins on Facebook. And I also have a podcast now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So you can find me on Spotify and Apple, and it's called The Reclamation, or on YouTube. Couldn't use that one. So it's called Reclaiming You. Got to go with what's there. So yeah, lots of ways to get in touch with me. I love to have chats with people. I love to go out and have tea with people. Or sit around and drink cacao, because that's my first love.
That sounds splendid. Paula, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It was lovely.
Thank
Great
you
conversation.
for the opportunity. You ladies are both incredible, incredibly powerful women. And I feel very blessed that you allowed me to have this time with you.
Oh,
Thank you. I received that.
Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
That's a wrap on this episode of Exposing the Hidden Reality. If something hit home or made you snort laugh, tell us.
Seriously, we love hearing from you. Message us, tag us, or send us coffee. We love
And
coffee,
hey, leave a review. It helps more women find us and boosts our egos.
which are like fragile, like suspiciously fragile.
True. All right, until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and if all else fails,
Blame the dog.
see
See you next time.
Wait, did we stop recording?
No, we're still here. You have to push the red button.
Red button. Cool. Just eternal podcast.
Bye.
Bye.